he over there. Do a fit check real quick. CEO Anunnaki. If you haven't already, press the subscribe button for America New Networks and download America New Networks on your app store. Just type in America, type in NU, easy, it's free. And also, if you like what I'm wearing, this Anunnaki CEO, you can just press the shop button and take it from there.
What's good, Dan?
What's happening?
So, N.O.R.E had a couple of choice words for you on vacation. What'd you think about that?
Well, so I guess this happened last night. And I, for some reason on Sundays, I take naps. I don't know. I love a good nap. So I took a nap and I woke up to Big Face Gary and he was like, called me, pause. There's my pause button. Woke up to Big Face Gary. That's crazy. So he called me and I woke up and he was like, yo, N.O.R.E said, lame dame. And he called me and told me he's coming at you. Pause. As soon as he gets back from vacation. And I was like, huh? I was like, he could just call me. So he called back with N.O.R.E on the phone. And then N.O.R.E put Bleek on the phone. And, something happened that I really liked. We talked like brothers. Honestly, we were able to, we made a decision not to speak about exactly what we spoke about. But at the time, I didn't know that there was a video out. So this is the reason why I'm addressing it. But at the end of the day, we worked it out. And it honestly felt like real brothers arguing or speaking on things that they didn't like about one another. And I think it's important that men talk instead of having problems on the internet and then getting into a bigger problem just over words and misunderstandings. So, for me, that was some real man shit that we got to speak. And the only reason why at times I'm going to get on an interview and speak about things that are bothering me is because I can't get to that person to speak to them or they haven't reached out to me. So now that we've spoke about it and we have an understanding or more clarity maybe about a misunderstanding, it's all good. So big shout out to N.O.R.E. I hope you enjoy your vacation. I'm really happy that you're able to do those things now. I did it a long time ago. I have no desire to do that. I like being a family man and, being with my whole family. I'm waiting for all my children to come to my house today. I'm waiting right now. And I'm really excited about where my life is right now. What happens is once you do something once or twice, it becomes whack. You don't want to do it anymore. So a lot of the things that potentially I was doing when I was 20, I don't really get so excited about it at 53. But I do love when people get to experience that. And also, with Bleek, because I guess I was after we were speaking and, you know, I was clear about whatever he was saying or how I thought I was. Because what happens is you only see the clips of what people send you. And you don't look at the other full interview and you don't know context. And for me, when somebody sends me something, I listen to a couple of words. And if I don't like it, I don't even look at it no more. I don't look at the full interview. I only see what was said about me. And then I usually hear more, like there'll be more, I just stop. So maybe sometimes because I have PTSD, if I hear certain words, I'm going to be triggered. But, again, if I misunderstood, uh, then my bad. I'm man enough to be like, I was like, yo, if you really didn't have any ill intent, I apologize. But I just wasn't taking it like that. Pause. But either way, again, gave my word. We're not going to talk about what we spoke about. All I'm saying is it was resolved like brothers, like men. And, I think that's how everything should be handled. So the reasons why sometimes I'm asking questions and I'm speaking is because I can't get a conversation with the person that's actually doing the things I don't like. I just be wanting to know why. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Um, so what I wanted to do today, because I not so much went on to talk about. It's all the same stuff. But the name of this show is Bosses Take Losses. And because people are constantly talking about my losses or what they perceive as my losses, I just think people should learn from them. But they should know exactly what they are. What exactly were the losses? Why am I in a certain kind of pause position in this moment 30 years later? So I wanted to start with all of my verticals from when I was younger, in my 20s. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this is because after I explain these things, then there's no excuse for someone to say they didn't know. They don't have to ask me questions about it other than if they don't understand what I said. So let's start with the music vertical. I started Roc-A-Fella with Jay-Z and Biggs, and I can't say Roc-A-Fella without giving them their props for being a part of it. So it's not like I'm speaking on them. And this thing of saying that, like I made up the word chatty patty. A chatty patty is someone that talks about someone else's business, not someone that talks about their own. So y'all could remix the word all you want, but if you're saying that me talking about my business is chatty patty, then you don't know the definition of it. You can't compare me to people that talk about other people's business that they have no business with. I don't do that. I only talk about my business, period. Just wanted to say that. And I can speak about my business as many times as I want, and I can answer any question that I want to answer. I'm not going to not answer questions because it may offend the person that was in that part of my history. So, Roc-A-Fella. Now, Roc-A-Fella was rolling, and it was doing very well. And yes, I was always trying to get new artists because Homeboy was always saying he was retiring since Reasonable Doubt. So as a businessman, of course, I'm going to try to get as many artists as I can so we don't have to depend on that person. But what happened was when our contracts were up, and I hope y'all could follow this. I hope that y'all can put your CEO glasses on and really keep up with what I'm saying. So at the end of our term, and we were selling Roc-A-Fella, there's a negotiation that happens. But right when that happened, for some reason, in the newspaper, there was a contrived problem between me and Homeboy. And you can, what really, I want people to focus or ask this question. Has anybody ever seen me have a argument with Homeboy? Has anybody, any rapper, anybody ever seen me and that man have a disagreement and argue? Never. It never happened. So when I'm hearing that we got problems, I'm like, yo, why are they saying we have problems? And why are they doing it right when we're negotiating the final sale of Roc-A-Fella? And if we're going to negotiate so we can get the most money, all of us, because you got to think, Kanye, Jay-Z, Cameron, Beanie Siegel, State Property, M.O.P, N.O.R.E, Joe Buttons. We didn't have any problems. There was never like a time that Roc-A-Fella was ever whack until there was no Roc-A-Fella. So we would have kept the united front. We would have all made a lot of money. Didn't mean I had to be around Homeboy. It meant that I would just dealt with all of these other new artists like a Beanie Siegel or State Property and made sure that, because what I was working on was each one of their clothing lines, each one of their movies. Everybody was going to eat. It wasn't meant to have 1 billionaire. It was meant to have 12 and more. So if we would have stuck together, we would have been able to negotiate the illest deal and everybody would have made more money. from the artists, because think about it, every single artist but Kanye ended up struggling, ended up having to start over. Most of these artists were used to having someone that looked out for every aspect of their career and made sure they were protected. And all of a sudden, that person wasn't there anymore. And a lot of them, just because they weren't taught and were young, didn't know how to realize their potential without support. So a lot of people took a hit on that one. And then all of a sudden there is no more Roc-A-Fella. So the reason why in music I can't get money from the money, or rather from the things I did for that 10 years, was because it was dismantled for no reason. And there has to be a reason. And I would like to know, what was the reason? So that's the reason why I had to start from scratch in music, but I didn't want to do music anymore. I was working with Rockware. So you would think he did all this in music and he can't monetize anything that he did because it got dismantled. Um, what happened with the fashion? You're doing all this work in Rockware. Well, again, when I decided to pivot, and it was like I wanted to do only the fashion and stay away from the music because I just didn't see where I could make any more money in the music business, and things were frustrating me. People were frustrating me. And again, I saw that the way things are moving, I'm not going to be able to get none of this money in my future. So now let's talk about the fashion vertical. So Rockware was generating a lot of money. And, you know, I wanted to turn Rockware into LVMH. And again, because Homeboy wasn't coming to the office, never came to work, I had to start doing the campaigns. And then I started to get judged for doing the marketing because no one else would do it. And, you know, I felt it was time for me to just focus on high end fashion with Rachel Roy, Charlotte Ronson. I made sure Ryan Kinney was funded. Um, I was just trying to make Rockware the umbrella brand because I didn't feel that Rockware could sustain and be hot because we didn't have an expensive line, nor did we have a flagship store. So based on what I had learned, I was like, you know, this can be a fad and it can be out, but I would rather either start or acquire other companies. And then at some point, I'd be able to buy factories to make all the clothes for all the companies we own. But my partners didn't see it that way. And I felt like, all right, you know, it might not be a bad idea for us to sell the company. And Tommy Hilfiger wanted to buy it at a really good multiple. So we were going to sell, we went through all the due diligence. It cost $800,000. Like when someone wants to buy a company, it costs you money because your lawyers have to talk to other lawyers and they have to go through every single detail. So it cost the company $800,000 just to do the negotiation. And when we finally came to terms, I would have walked away with $40 million cash. And I would have had enough money to invest in everything else that I wanted to do and, you know, without having to struggle. But what happened was, Homeboy makes an announcement that he no longer wants to be a part of Rockware and that he's going to just work on S. Carter. So, of course, Tommy Hilfiger didn't want to do the deal anymore. So now we lost $800,000. I didn't get the 40 million, and we flooded the market with dress shirts. So at that point, I'm like, I don't understand the reason for that. So it's time for me to leave. And what I did was I invested all the money from selling my interest in Rockware. And conveniently, when I left Rockware, Homeboy never came to the office ever. And then all of a sudden, he was in the campaigns. And in business, that's called like devaluing a company so that your partners leave and then bringing value back to the company. But my point was like, why couldn't we just like sell the company to Tommy Hilfiger and I could have walked away with the 40, everybody would have walked away with money. So I invested the money that I got from Rockware into Rachel Roy. And that company became $100 million company, but it was cash intensive. You know, I think the figure that I invested at first was $8 million. And, you know, in fashion, if you're building a brand, you won't even start to sustain for 5 years or be profitable for 10 traditionally. And I just thought that I could get there quicker. And I did. You know, we got a deal with Macy's. We were in Bergdorf Goodman. You can't make money in Bergdorf Goodman. It's for perception because there's only one store. In Macy's, you know, you have to make a diffusion line. You have to keep a designer line so people will buy the cheaper version of it at mass, but the margins are different. It's only 3%. So think about it. If you do $100 million worth of business, you're only going to make $3 million. And if we have partners, you have to split and bust that down. So I couldn't get into Macy's without having $1 billion partner that could sustain those kind of losses or those kind of margins and be able to make that kind of volume. You know, Macy's wouldn't even talk to us. And I remember Anna Winter advising me, like, yo, you know, if you do this deal, because, you know, I started to talk to Jones. And she said, if you do this deal, your company is going to be like a tacky company in no time. I'm like, nah, they'll listen. They said they'll do the designer line and all this and that. But again, the Rachel Roy company became $100 million company. No one ever spoke about that. Y'all was busy saying I was broke because y'all didn't know about Rachel Roy. I don't know why y'all didn't know about it, but Rachel Roy did exist. And when they were like, make another Hove, I made another $100 million company, but no one talks about that. But what happened there was I got divorced and I said, look, now your company's built. I invested all this money in it. You're in control of your company. I made Rachel the manager of the company, and her job was when the money came in to pay the child support. But then I said this story, you know, she got one lawyer is representing both baby mothers. She decides not to pay the child support. And because of that, they came in and, you know, the rest was history. But that's how I lost like I couldn't get the money from Rockware. And the money I did get from Rockware, I invested in Rachel Roy. And then the people I trusted ended up not paying bills so that I couldn't have my interest in Rachel Roy anymore. Now, I'm not saying that it's not my fault. It's my fault that I wasn't more careful. I have full responsibility for that. But if you want to know what happened, this is what happened. Now, you want to ask how my taxes got fucked up. Now, you got to think about it. I was making a lot of money, and I was paying Barry Klarberg a lot of money to pay my taxes, but he just didn't. So that $8 million didn't come from me having lack of money to pay it. It came from the fact that he told me that he handled things and he did not. I didn't know till later. Just like I didn't know my child support wasn't getting paid till later. You know? So it put me in a problem with taxes. So now, you know, Roc-A-Fella, which I've worked for 10 years, gets dismantled. Then Rockware gets devalued, and I have to sell it at a fire sale, my interest, and then they go back and do some bullshit. And then when I invest that money into Rachel Roy, she does some cute shit. So again, I'm not sitting here crying, complaining. My thing is, yo, it's my fault. But what I think people have to understand is when you're working on something for 10 years and you can't get your money out of it and you have to start from scratch, it's not that easy because to start another new company takes another 10 years. So now I can't get any of the money that I made as a cushion, and I don't even have no money to put into a new company. So I had to start from scratch, from zero. And because no credit, child support on my head, public perception, and then the person that was the closest person to me is now my enemy, and he has a collective bunch of Steve Stout, Leor Cohen, and all these other people that for some reason want to click up to talk and put bad narratives and focus on my life completely. So I started from scratch. and I'm doing pretty well. Like, things were going exactly how they should. And I'm like, all right, as an independent to go from one level to the next, now all I got to do is liquidate the reasonable doubt. I'll take the money from that. I'll be able to be comfortable and I'll be able to put that into America New. And again, when I'm doing what's legal, I get accused. And this is things like, for some reason, people be asking me like, yo, what are you so mad about? Why you keep talking? Well, it keep asking me questions, but y'all got to realize the same way the Busby nigga is suing Homeboy, they were suing me. They were the Busbys. And it was not true. So they put me in court, accused me. These are street guys, put me in court, my best friends before, my ex, supposed to be my brothers. Take me to court over a lie. Stop me from selling my legal interest where I could have made enough money to comfortably put it in my other company, just so that they could change bylaws to say I couldn't sell it. And that's the reason why things are a bit challenging, because I can't get back. And also, I think y'all need to remember, I managed Homeboy. So all the publishing deals and every deal that I got him that he still gets money from, I don't get none of that money. Why? So y'all can call it what you want to call it. But if you want to know why, I can name, okay, and then let's talk about the movies, why it slowed me down. I loaned Lee Daniels $2 million for The Woodsman, pause. And when that money came back, he tells me, yo, if you put this money, this $2 million into this other movie, I just forgot the name of the movie with Cuba Gooding and Helen Mirren, Shadowboxer. He said, yo, you give me this $2 million, I'll have your $2 million back next month. I promise you, I'll sell the foreign, I'll do whatever, but you will have this money back. And I'm like, Lee, this is my $2 million that's keeping me independent so I can make movies. This is my cash flow. Not to put in my pocket, to put into business. And you know what happened? He ran off on me. And I didn't have my money to re-up the $2 million I gave him to go put into another business. So again, I had to do it from scratch. And when I finally did run into him so many years later, because now there's a child support issue that, and the money was there. They just decided not to pay it and they kept it. That money had to go to child support as opposed to going to me being able to invest in other movies. So, I mean, you don't have to have compassion, but y'all want to know. Y'all want to know why my taxes weren't paid. Because the person I paid to do it didn't pay my taxes, but took $1 million that year and put it in his pocket. And didn't tell me he didn't pay my taxes until after he didn't work with me anymore. Why wasn't my child support paid? Because the people that I trusted to pay the child support decided not to. You know? Why is it, do I have to start from scratch in the music business and the fashion business? Because when I was selling my interest, the company got devalued and I wasn't able to pull the money out that I was supposed to. And again, you ask yourself, why isn't there a Roc-A-Fella? What happened? We were rolling. Why was it dismantled? So me talking about my business, y'all gonna call me a chatty patty because I'm telling you about my personal experience and that I want y'all to learn from it? And that because what y'all have to understand is, Homeboy doesn't speak for himself. Alex Shapiro speaks for him. So when he puts out a lawsuit on me and then does a statement to TMZ, that does way more damage than any interview that I'm doing that somebody asked me a question about my life. If I don't say anything, then that narrative is the only narrative that everyone's going to see. And it really doesn't matter what the fans see. It matters what corporate sees as it relates to doing deals. So they've been killing my reputation just by suing me, saying I'm trying to steal, and all the other things that happen every time I try to sell something that I legally should be allowed to. And then y'all, for some reason, want to make this narrative that I'm being a chatty patty because I'm talking about my own business. And everybody should be smart enough to know that if I do an hour interview and they ask me a question about Homeboy and I say something for 3 minutes, that's going to be the clickbait. But you cannot expect me to do an interview and people to ask me about Roc-A-Fella and Jay's not going to come up. And you're like, well, he don't talk about you. He doesn't talk at all. I wish he would. So regardless, this is the reason why I'm in a challenging situation, because everything that I planned, I did it with people that I thought loved me, that I thought would never rob me. And the lesson of the day is don't trust the people that are the closest to you because they resent you the most and your guard is down. And when they do something, because of how cool you were, you don't react the same. You got to leave it alone. Or you're not allowed to speak on it because you seem like, you're jaded. Hell yeah, I'm jaded. I'm not going to never say I'm not tight about that shit. It's not one thing. It was 10. And I challenge anyone to ask Homeboy, why did you take Damon to court to stop him from selling his interest in Reasonable Doubt? And it was a lie you took him to court for. I challenge someone to tell me, or for him to tell me, why he did that. Tell me why he told L.A. Reid that he wouldn't be a part of Roc-A-Fella if me and Biggs were a part of it, and how much money that fucked up, and why I shouldn't be, why? And again, I was pivoting. Don't get it twisted, but it didn't mean that Roc-A-Fella couldn't still thrive and someone else couldn't have ran it with my supervision, and I didn't have to be around Homeboy because I had so many other artists to work with. So I'm being transparent right now. And anyone that wants to interview me can look at anything that I just said, look under the hood, look at the press and see if I got sued by Homeboy and accused of something I didn't do. And what part of the game is that? And look at how many statements that his lawyer made about me. And I don't have the power of controlling TMZ or any of the other outlets that seem to hold Homeboy down no matter what. No one, what I didn't understand is how that wasn't the topic of conversation. How could he take him to court and accuse him of selling something that he didn't try to sell? Why wasn't that a business conversation? So that's why I be jaded and I have to set the narrative straight. So if I didn't say anything, and maybe y'all not reading the New York Times, maybe y'all not reading the Wall Street Journal, but the people that I have to do business with are. So to put that out there that I'm stealing or I've been accused of stealing or I'm hard to work with, that makes corporate or people that I need to do things that will diversify my brand say it's not worth it. And y'all know that. So if I don't get out here and say something, the rumors will go wild. People will say all type of shit and my reputation will be way more compromised. I'm telling my side of the story. And just because somebody else speaks for somebody doesn't mean they're not talking about me. Y'all just don't understand boss talk if you look at it that way. Look at the statements made. So you notice every time there's an accusation on him, he gets to have a lawyer do a press conference and talk, but no one calls him a chatty patty. But when they sue me and I do my own version of a press conference, which is a fucking interview or lay my case out, I'm a chatty patty. Why don't y'all hold people to the same standard? And then why would you wonder why I'm tight? This was at least $100 million of money fucked up. Now, let's take it to the liquor. So remember, we were the first ones with the liquor. It was Armandale. You know what homeboy did? He did a ad for Belvedere for free. So we have the meeting, me and Biggs, we're like, oh, why would you do an ad for Belvedere for free or for anything? And we got our own vodka. We lost all negotiation power from them and they dumped us. So I'm looking at the liquor vertical and how I started that trend, and I can't benefit from it because it got dismantled for no reason. How do we start the #1 label of all time and I can't get no money from it because it got dismantled? How do I have a $400 million clothing line and I got to sell for like 15, 20 just to get away when I could have made 40? Keep adding them numbers up. So from Rockwear to Armandale to Roc-A-Fella to Reasonable Doubt, intentionally, every single dollar I could have made from there was intentionally fucked with. And that's the reason why I'm in a challenging situation as far as starting new businesses. This is why and y'all can say, yo, you blaming on him. I don't want to hear about, I don't care. Just don't even look at this thing. But this is me telling you, and I told y'all, the reason why I got to talk about this is because y'all always talking about my pockets. Someone's always saying something about what condition I'm in right now. And why am I, and how did I get in that position? Pause. But then if I tell you why, it's chatty patty. But tell me where I'm exaggerating. And let homeboy speak for himself. Why would y'all speak? I can't understand somebody else arguing about another man. I'm not arguing with you about this nigga. I'll argue with this nigga. So yesterday, I was able to talk to Bleek. I was able to talk to N.O.R.E like a man. We aired a little bit out because that's what the game is right now. You know, people end up talking in front of cameras. But then if we say something we don't like, or if it starts to get out of hand, we actually had a call. So what have I been asking for? I said, yo, I just want to talk to Biggs and Jay, and I just want to know why they took me to court. And I don't care if y'all don't care. I don't care if y'all think I'm dragging it. Bruh, this shit got done in public. This shit fucked my money up. And now I'm on the back foot. And I'm tight until I'm not. So until this shit cracks, hell yeah, I'm tight. And don't tell me how to act, because this did not happen to you. Until somebody fucks up this kind of money for it, then don't tell me. And as long as I'm doing interviews and homeboys not, they're always going to ask me questions about this dude or about Roc-A-Fella. And I'm always going to answer. You're not going to tell me I can't speak on my own history because y'all don't like what I'm saying. But you can't call me a chatty patty or whatever, no joke, or none of that shit. Because I'm talking about my own business, my own experiences. And you're like, why you keep talking about it? Nigga, I was just in court with them. That's why I was talking about it. Because now I got to struggle a little more because they fucked my money up. I'm tight until I'm not. So I'm happy where I'm at. And every single thing that I'm doing, look at the verticals. America News doing what it's supposed to do. But if I had the cushion of being able to have the bread that I earned from 10, 20 years ago, then I'd be more comfortable right now. And again, with Blue Rock, we have music projects coming out, video shot, tours, just like a regular label. But better, live instruments. My studio that I worked in, I think, is better than any studio that any person corporately works in. We had a ball. And I got my new version of Rockwear, but better, more expensive, the way I like it, with a certain kind of meaning. And we got the books. And the reason why I'm doing this publicly is because I want y'all to know that it comes with struggle. But when you have to start from scratch each and every time, it will be challenging. And I personally started from scratch. I had to rebuild my brand completely so that it was about my point of view and my family's. And y'all can take it the way you want it. You can call it Chatty Pag. Listen, if I wish if anybody ever fucked your money up the way certain people have fucked mine up on purpose without any explanation, I think that you would be a little upset as well, because this fucks with my family's money. This fucks with my children's money. And now they have to start from scratch. And it is what it is. And if y'all feel good about the fact that somebody actually did that and that makes you feel better than me on any kind of level, that's good for you. But don't think that I'm not going to flip these brand new companies from scratch and I'm going to be on the way I want to. Because what happens when you're a billionaire because of corporate, what I think that they have shown is that corporate can also make you not a billionaire in the snap of a finger. So if your numbers are up because corporate put you there, corporate could actually say, I'm not funding your shit anymore. You no longer have a deal. And that guaranteed volume of money that you were getting, you no longer get. And now you're not a billionaire. And I don't want to be in that position that if somebody makes an accusation about me, that they could turn my lights off. Because people, when you're famous and you're a celebrity, especially if you're talking about you got money, you become a target. And again, I'm not going to sit here and defend homeboy or say none of that shit. I don't know if he did it or not. I'm not getting involved in that. But I do know it does look like he's being targeted. You know, I look at not only me, I see other people. But again, I'm not saying I wish he's being targeted. I'm just saying that when you start to promote yourself a certain way, you do become a target. And there's some bullshit that comes with it. And you don't want to have to be able, you don't want to have to be scared that you can no longer have the money you had because somebody else could stop your cash flow based on somebody's accusations. So Kanye's my brother, and yeah, he had billionaire status, and the minute corporate stopped fucking with him, he didn't have billionaire status no more. So that's not real independence to me. If someone can stop you from being a billionaire, if you're a billionaire, to me, no one can stop you from being a billionaire. It's a billionaire. So when I look at Trump, I'm like, now, I kind of have to respect the fact that no matter what they said about him, no one could cut his lights out. When they took him off of and I'm not like praising Trump, trust me on that. I'm giving you an example of somebody that was being not persecuted, crucified, that they threw every name in the book, but now he's the president. And the reason why was because when they kicked him off of Twitter, he went and made his own. So when they kicked me off of TV or commercial, I went and made my own television network until they let me back on TV. But when I do it, I'm bugging. Whenever there's an accusation about Trump or an accusation with or something said with Elon, they all speak. So when I speak, why I can't speak to protect my company? You know what I'm saying? So the bottom line is the example that I'm trying to lead is, again, number one, when you make bad choices and put people around you that you trust and they do things that can fuck your money up, you have to take accountability. Like, I should have saw that coming, pause, and you got to keep it moving. But do understand, when you start a new block, it doesn't just start clicking. It takes a while. And yes, I'm tight because while this block was clicking, I would have had that nice little cushion. But these niggas fucked my money up by accusing me of not of trying to sell the whole thing. And then I got to pay lawyers. And I just want them to stop. You know what I'm saying? I just want them to leave me the fuck alone. That's why I want it to be known that if you say something about me, I'm saying something back, and I'm always going to tell the truth. You're not going to just put a headline out there through a lawyer, make a statement, and make me look crazy, and I'm not going to say nothing. Period. And, you know, if I was a sucker, that'd be a whole, you know, I'm just not, I just want to, if y'all leave me alone about my money, meaning let me make it and stop fucking it up, then I ain't got no reason to talk about nobody, you know? And look, come on, buddy, you want to come in? And look who comes in. This is my wealth right here. This is who I decided to be this is my business. Me being a father, me being able to be with him all day long when he's sick. We just came back from playing golf, right? We get to dress alike. I never got to raise a child. And the fact that I'm able to raise a child lets my other children know that, yo, this is all I wanted to do with them. And because they love him so much, now everything I've ever wanted is happening. All my children are flying right now to come and be with me, Raquel, baby Dusko. Most of my Christmases, I was alone. So for me, the priority was I got to get my family together first. You know, I got to figure out, first of all, how to have a child because we were struggling. We had to do IVF to make this baby. We lost the baby to get to this baby. But once we got him, we wanted to make sure that there was an environment where the very thing we worked so hard for, we were able to savor. We were able to really marinate. The dream was for us to live on a lake, to have enough room to do whatever we want, and to completely focus on our child. Duska, what are you doing? So now it's cool because he's learning everything that I think is important, like how to make content and do what he loves. And I'm there with his mother to make sure that whatever inspires him, that we support it. And that we also have a village of people, principals like OSG, that can make sure that things we're telling him help him as it relates to education. And that we can make content. And that's been my dream. So right now, I got everything I want. I said it. I got everything but the money is the least of the priority. If I had the money and didn't have a family, then or a functional family, then the money don't matter. If I got all the money and my health ain't together, the money don't matter. You know, if I got all this money and I'm unhappy and the people around me are unhappy, the money doesn't matter. So the order of operations is family. Get your family right. So that when you make the money, you know what you're spending it on. The people you love that deserve it. And then, you know, one of the things that I've always told people in my crew, I'm like, yo, it's not for any adult or grown man to be dependent on me. And if I'm giving people money that don't deserve it, I'm enabling them. And the buckshot of that karma would be God saying, yo, you're not going to have enough money to help anybody but yourself because you always give it away. You never know who to give it to. You never know who to work with. So you need a certain kind of process where it doesn't look like you're doing so well, so you can see who's really with you. So that when you are doing well, you know exactly who to share the wealth with and who deserves it, who's for real. You know, there's so many people that were there when I was giving them, and as soon as I stop, I become a bad guy, or I left them to the dirt because I got to go handle my business because people done did things where I can't benefit from the things I did 10 years prior to, and now I got to start from scratch. The difference between me and everyone else at this level is I'm completely transparent. I want people to learn from what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Period. So this week, on another note, I think I just broke down, you know, and again, don't tell me what to talk about. If I'm inspired to speak, I will. And I guess because of certain conversations I was having, I felt like it was time for me to explain to everybody once and for all that's asking me why the fuck I am in a challenging, why I'm broke, if that's what you want to call it. Why I have to start all these new companies on my own and why I have to struggle. And that's just part of the game. Period. But this week, Raquel got sick. And the week before that, I was sick, so I imagine that I made everyone else sick. And what was great was I was able to be there to cook breakfast with baby Dusko for Raquel. I actually drove to Publix by myself to get him a donut and a cookie, not by myself, with him. I got a license, I just don't drive. And the reason why is because of the PTSD, because I had a car when I was younger, and that's when the police used to pull me over. I ended up jail because I was driving without a license, and I don't want to talk to the police. And I also don't like moving around without a witness because people tend to accuse me of things I don't do. So I was like, I got to be dependent. You know, Rocky has to know that if she doesn't feel well, that I will be able to be man enough to take care of things. So I drove him. And it was so much fun taking my son, just me and him, to go get a cookie and a donut and to come back and make eggs. And they loved it and wanted more. And I was like, damn, I'm in it. I'm a real dad, you know? And now my whole family's going through it. You know, to me, a real dad is someone that's there, not pays for the child, but raises their child. That's a good man for the woman. Like, you got to respect how hard a woman works to raise a child, especially when they got to do it on their own with no support. It's not fair, you know? The thing that, man, I'm going to say that. But to be honest, Raquel is like the biggest inspiration in my life. I think everyone needs a muse, someone to impress, someone that inspires them to to want to like do things with them, for them, someone that you're like, I can make them, like, they make me so happy that I want them to be happy. And someone that has a way of life that you like, that they can teach you how to do things that you don't know. So for me, being in a relationship with people that are good at exactly what I'm good at is not the best thing for me. I need someone to be good at things I'm not good at. We don't need to be both doing the same thing. So I'm not good at cleaning the house. You know what I'm saying? Or, I'm sloppy. I'm not good at, like, doing Christmas decorations. Like, I don't even care about holidays. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but if the family's going to be around, there definitely should be an environment that makes them feel comfortable, regardless of what I feel about a holiday. You know, I'm not so anal, pause, about the food. Like, I'll eat what was ever there, but she makes sure that the food is right. She knows how to take pictures. She knows how to paint. Every day she gives me information that I didn't know about shit I wasn't thinking about, but that I could apply to my everyday life. So what I call it is In Love for a Living. And this week, we're going to do a segment called In Love for a Living. Now, we have a show called In Love for a Living, and I'm going to give you all a little clip within this, because what I wanted to do here is give you all a little preview about the new stuff, only the positive stuff. And, big shout out to N.O.R.E, big shout out to Bleek, and let's move forward. Let's talk about the new shit. But the sooner I can get back on the way I want to be, the sooner I won't be thinking about why I'm in this position all the time. Pause. A certain kind of position. And I could just raise this little guy. Because this is all that matters, man. Period. But look, he got the CEO shorts on. You know what I mean? I got to do these off. And I got these shorts, and these are going to be available. I'll wear them next week so y'all can see them. But this is really my little man. The fact that he's comfortable enough while I'm working to just jump on my lap and be like, whatever, bro, whatever you doing, he's not scared of me. He doesn't feel uncomfortable around me. When you have a visiting child, number one, the first day or two, they're scared of you because they haven't been around you for a while. They don't know you. And then by the time you get cool with them, they got to leave. This clown cake, this sack of potatoes, he just thinks he can do whatever he wants, no fear, interrupt. He knows that the world is his. You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing better than this. There's no Rolex watch better than this. There's no vacation that's better than this. There's no car, there's no jet, there's no yacht that's better than this. Having a child and a functional family that you love, watching something that you made evolve and be happy and have a better life than you had. You heard? Yeah. You saw? Yeah. All right. Little baby boss, right? Who are you? Are you a sack of potatoes? No. What's your name? Jusco. What are you? Jusco the kid. Jusco the kid. You know what I'm saying? He already knows. That means baby goat. Jusco the kid. So I'm the goat, he's the kid. You feel me? He already knows he's a baby goat. Not a baby. So we're going to come back and I'm going to bring Raquel, and I wanted to have some conversations. I wanted y'all to go to American New, check out Health is Wealth, because that's her show. Check out Applefish, or the children's stuff is her show. I'm just giving you context. of the person that actually made me see life different. All right.